Who's ready to get a little blood on their hands? Hey guys, this is Jacob with the Leaderboard, and today we've got some new details on Assassin's Creed Odyssey, the latest entry in the critically acclaimed series. Odyssey is upon us. It's the 11th game in the main series developed by Ubisoft Montreal, and it's coming to the PlayStation 4, Xbox One, and PC on October 5th, 2018. 2018 as in this year. The Assassin's Creed series has taken us around the globe from the canals of Venice to the New World to the deserts of Egypt. This time around we'll be taking a trip to ancient Greece, and now fans can explore this area of the world like never before. The game was teased on May 31st, showing an armored up Spartan-looking individual kicking someone off a cliff. This came shortly after the game was supposedly leaked on a French website showcasing an Assassin's Creed Odyssey keychain. Before this leak, there was only speculation as to when we'd see another Assassin's Creed, but this leak all but confirmed it, and now we've got a bunch of details on Odyssey. Assassin's Creed Origins, which took place in 49 BC, previously held the title for the earliest game in the series, but step aside Origins, Odyssey takes its place at 431 BC, hundreds of years before Old Bayek was even a glint in the milkman's eye or some other old-timey period-appropriate saying, and well before the establishment of the Brotherhood. Odyssey not only takes place in ancient Greece, but it's steeped in its culture. The game draws inspiration from Greek comedies and tragedies. Ubisoft Montreal cited Oedipus Rex and La Strada as touchstones for the game, and as Ubisoft has been known to do, the Odyssey team has done their research. Origins was painstakingly detailed and recreated ancient Egypt to near perfection, and we're hoping that Odyssey does the same, and from what we've seen so far, it sure looks like that's the case. Ubisoft's version of ancient Greece is going to have a total of 27 states to explore, so this game is going to be huge. In addition to the game's incredible scope, there are going to be biomes, including paradise-like landscapes, deserts, and of course sprawling cities. For example, you'll sail to the island of Delos off the coast of Greece. Wait, did I say sail? That's right, ships were just a minor part of Origin's experience. I mean, you were in a desert, after all. But if you know anything about Greece, there are plenty of islands, archipelagos, and other bodies of water. If you liked Black Flag, you're gonna love Odyssey. Ships and sailing has once again become an integral part of the Assassin's Creed experience. There's full open world sailing that is completely seamless. No loading is gonna stop you from embarking on your grand voyage. Sailing is a full experience here, not something that's been tacked on. You're going to commandeer a ship and a crew. Your crew will become your family as you forge new relationships with them, sailing the Aegean Sea. You can gather new shipmates by knocking out enemies and recruiting them. I mean, I'm sure they'll forgive you, provided they know where they are when they come to. And obviously, there's going to be plenty of maritime combat. There aren't cannons this time around, though, like in Black Flag, because they weren't a thing in 431 BC. But I mean, who needs cannons when you can just ram right into another ship like a grumpy assassin bumper car? You'll even be able to watch as the enemy crew jumps overboard only to be torn apart by the hungry sharks below. Yeah, it sounds brutal, but like, come on, it's awesome. But if that isn't your thing, you can still board enemy ships and knock enemies off yourself. Or you can just use the fire brazier and set those wooden vessels up in flames. And don't forget the sweet loot that'll inevitably float to the bottom. Of course, to gather it up, you'll be able to swim and explore bodies of water like in Origins. Gather the loot from the destroyed ships, but like, look out for those sharks that went after the other crew. They're brutally awesome to watch, but less so to experience. Now let's talk about Odyssey's other improvements and additions. This time around, it's a new genre entirely. Unlike Origins, there are several more RPG-like elements to set itself apart from its predecessor. Odyssey is now a full-fledged role-playing experience. Senior director Marc-Alexis Coté said that this is the second part of a two-step transition to transform the Assassin's Creed franchise into an RPG. The teams of Origins and Odyssey worked closely together to make sure that this transition was fully realized. With the game being an RPG, there have been many changes to distinguish this title. First and foremost, players can now choose between a male and female character to play, Alexio and Cassandra. This idea was implemented to reinforce player choice and to allow the player to represent themselves in a better way. Here's the story behind these two. Delphi's oracle prophesies that you'll bring destruction upon Sparta, which doesn't really do you any favors, and as a result, you're, let's go with discarded. Afterward, there's a 17-year time jump after the prophecy, allowing you to play your now all-grown-up character. Did we mention that the character you choose is also a descendant of King Leonidas, the legendary Spartan king and the main character in the movie 300? To hammer it home for good measure, players wield Leonidas' spear as their weapon. Players also have a new in-house storytelling dialogue system. There are 13 different ways to interact with other characters. You'll have to listen to what characters say and choose the response that feels the most appropriate, rather than a good, bad, or neutral option like many other RPGs. There are no wrong responses though, so play the character that you want to be. The dialogue choices are much like The Witcher, where you choose lines sometimes and other times the character will speak on their own. Cote says that creating these new cinematic dialogues has been an incredible undertaking for the Odyssey team. He added, "We've begun working on them on day one, and even before setting the groundwork necessary to achieve that, it's doubled to triple to maybe quadrupled the amount of text lines that we've had to write to record. They've even quadrupled the narrative team in this widely transformative process for Assassin's Creed. In short, the dialogue system is like nothing they've attempted before." The team at Ubisoft has about a staggering 30 hours worth of cutscenes that unlock based on player choice. You can be assured that choices are going to matter in this game like any RPG worth its salt. This game will definitely reward those who play the game to discover all of the choices you can make. The world is also going to respond to actions outside of combat. Scuttling certain ships, destroying someone's property, or even weakening a town leader can have drastic consequences on the game's world. That weakened town leader might even have his town overthrown, but hey, it's not your problem if you don't want it to be, or until someone makes it your problem. In Origins, Bayek's heart belonged to his wife Aya. In Odyssey, though, your heart belongs to, well, a number of people. Everyone rejoice, romance options are now a part of the game, and trust me, there will be plenty of options. Now, you can't flirt with absolutely everyone in the game, but there's certainly more than we've ever seen before. You'll be able to become friends with historical figures in the game, and even become lovers with some too. Ubisoft has emphasized the importance of player choice in Odyssey. In Origins, there were plenty of combat options through their skill tree, with the warrior, hunter, and seer paths. You can mix and match to suit your playstyle. This returns in Odyssey. The skill tree has 3 different paths: hunter, warrior, and of course assassin. Hunter skills are suited for those who like ranged combat. This relates to the bow and sniping enemies from far distances. Warrior skills are for players who shun stealth and want to get right up into the bad guy's business. This skill line also has crowd control abilities and shield abilities, and what better crowd control ability is there than Spartan kicking? Want to Spartan kick someone off a cliff just like in 300? Yeah, you can do that. 10 out of 10, best game of all time. The last line is assassin skills that enhance stealth combat. You aren't restricted to using just one tree though, so if you want to play a stealthy character that's great with a bow, you can. Player choice is what it's all about, and there's going to be dozens of player abilities, so you do you. In addition to those 3 skill lines, you'll also have baseline abilities that are given to you from the start, including Icarus, or possibly Ikaros, or some other pronunciation. I don't actually know how to say this. But who is this, I hear you cry? He's your friendly bird companion like Senu from Origins. Soar the skies with this bad boy and have him target bad guys and mark locations, or just take in the beautiful sights of ancient Greece. Some other baseline abilities include the ability to summon your horse Phobos and the Leap of Faith. The Leap of Faith, iconic to the series, can also be upgraded to completely negate fall damage, presumably by having your character land in a convenient placed cart of hay or piles of bodies that you Spartan kicked off the cliff you're diving from. Cote says, "We want players to have more autonomy in the experience, and we want them to have a feeling of growth over time. Armor and weapon sets are expanded much more than ever before. Origins had a typical RPG loot system where there's a rarity type and different status. Weapons had a certain attack value, and armor had an armor value. Simple enough. Now you can pick up loot off just about every enemy. If you see someone wearing a sweet new breastplate, take it for yourself and equip it. See an awesome sword that you absolutely must have? Well, go ahead and take it for yourself. It's not like they'll be needing it. Also, you'll have 5 armor slots for helmets, chests, gloves, pants, and boots. Each have their own armor value and possible modifiers like increased critical chance. What's more, you'll be able to participate in some truly enormous battles. There are ancient conquest battles that involve over 300 different NPCs at the same time, pushing the technology to the absolute limit. We aren't sure how all of this plays out, but you can expect to take part in some epic battles in every sense of the term. The details on the story itself are sparse so far, except that one major part of the game will involve a war between Athens and Sparta. This can only mean one thing, that you'll be participating in the Peloponnesian War. This was a war fought between Athens and Sparta in 431 BC until around 404 BC, which is the time period in which the game is set. There was also plenty of naval combat, so that may play into things, and you can probably expect to meet plenty of notable figures from that war. We're also going to continue following Layla Hassan's story. We followed the story of Hassan in Origins, and so Odyssey acts as a sequel to Hassan's story, but don't worry, the Animus sequences are still going to be less frequent than other Assassin's Creed games. That's all we know about Assassin's Creed Odyssey, but what inspired the team to let players travel around ancient Greece? Cote says, right from the start we wanted our players to live in Odyssey, and there's no better place to live in Odyssey than in ancient Greece. And one of the objectives we set out to accomplish in this project was to revolutionize the storytelling aspect of Assassin's Creed. There's no better place to do it than where stories were, in a way, invented period, and ancient Greece is rich with stories to tell, and that's why we chose the setting. Another motivation he mentions is that a lot of people won't be able to visit Greece in their life, much less ancient Greece, and that it really is a beautiful place. The title is also most definitely a reference to Homer's The Odyssey, an ancient Greek epic poem likely composed near the end of the 8th century BC. As for speculation, an early leak from 4chan suggested that the game would have 2 playable characters as well. However, unlike the actual game, the leak suggested that it would take place during the Flavian dynasty, which was from 69 AD to 96 AD. They also suggested that the next Assassin's Creed would take place in Rome and release next year. While some of this information is false and others add up, we'll just have to wait and see. But thankfully, we won't have to wait until next year. The game's tagline is "History is your playground," and with what we've seen so far, this is looking to be just about the best playground we've been to in a long time. Once again, I'm Jacob, and thanks for watching Assassin's Creed Odyssey Facts You Should Know. Which assassin path are you going to choose? Are you excited for the return of naval combat? Comment below and let us know. Don't forget to click the bell icon to become part of our notification squad, and if you like getting more from your games, subscribe to the Leaderboard, your home for video game facts.